Welcome to A Moment of Zen. Time to sit back and relax as model, actress, mentor, and supermom Zen Sams takes you on a sexy and wild ride, covering the latest in film, fashion, pop culture, cryptocurrency, fintech, cannabis, and entertainment from the millennial mom's perspective. Here's your host, Zen Sams.
Welcome back, beautiful tri-state area. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeartRadio. I'm your host, Zen Sams. Welcome to episode 213, celebrating 5 years on the air. Here's to another exciting episode. It's such a pleasure to always spend my time with you on the airwaves. Thank you for tuning in every Saturday night and engaging with me on social media. That truly does make it all worthwhile. Please continue to follow me at Zen Sams. That's Zen with an X, not a Z. And also remember that all episodes of A Moment of Zen are available on our YouTube channel, Sundays at 2 p.m. via digital streaming. And you can also check us out on Your Home TV platform at mox.yourhometv.com. This week on the Hydration with Heart segment brought to you by Once Upon a Coconut, we're spotlighting the kind of strength that can't be measured by reps alone. I'm talking about raising strength, how 12-year-old weightlifting phenom Rory van Ulft and her mom, Lindsay, are building history literally one lift at a time. It's the mother-daughter power duo redefining what girls can do in sports and in life. In our Going Deep segment brought to you by CO2 Lift in our Expert on the Microphone series, today we're joined by the incredible Dr. Jenn Owen, board-certified OBGYN and Chief Medical Officer of Owen Health Group. She now focuses solely on gynecology and female health and wellness. She's going to join me today to chat all about the importance of prioritizing vaginal health and the treatments and technologies to rejuvenate your skin down there. In the Better, Brighter You segment brought to you by Cespera, we're thrilled to have Dr. Corey Hartman, a board-certified dermatologist and founder of Skin Wellness Dermatology in Birmingham, Alabama. He's going to join me to chat all about innovative skincare solutions and discuss aging, hyperpigmentation, and the rise of non-invasive treatments. In the Express Polished Beauty segment, co-contributor Dr. Daisy Aim, triple board certified cosmetic surgeon and OBGYN, chats about the importance of unplugging and the rise of digital detox retreats for the mind, body, and soul. In our FinTech TV exclusive segment, Eric Trump, the executive VP of the Trump Organization, discusses his journey from hard assets to embracing Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies and how these innovations can revolutionize the financial system for everyday Americans. Stay tuned for the mother-daughter power duo redefining what girls can do in sports and in life. Stay tuned for Rory van Ulft and her mom, Lindsay. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York. We'll be right back after this.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by the Fieldhouse in Northvale, New Jersey, a vibrant and fresh take on youth and adult sports and family fun, and home to the New Jersey Thunder softball program. Plan unforgettable birthday parties or private events, or explore camps and programs that keep kids active and inspired. Take time for yourself in adult leagues or rent a field or court with friends. From a cutting-edge gaming cave to hitting and pitching centers and top-tier sports instructors, the Fieldhouse is reigniting the next generation of play. Head to njfieldhouse.com.
Welcome back, beautiful tri-state area. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeartRadio. I'm your host, Zen Sams. This week on the Hydration with Heart segment brought to you by Once Upon a Coconut, we're spotlighting the kind of strength that can't be measured by reps alone. I'm talking about raising strength, how 12-year-old weightlifting phenom Rory van Ulft and her mom, Lindsay, are building history one lift at a time. It's the mother-daughter power duo redefining what girls can do in sports and in life. At just 12 years old, Rory van Ulft has become one of the strongest youth weightlifters in the world, male or female. She's smashed records, redefined what it means to be a girl in sports, and done it all with boldness, style, and grace. But behind this powerhouse is a mom who's helped guide, protect, and champion Rory's dream every step of the way. We're talking about mental strength, physical discipline, and the beautiful chaos that comes with raising a future Olympian. Please welcome Rory van Ulft and her amazing mom, Lindsay. Welcome, superstars.
Thanks for having us. It's so great to be here.
Hi, Rory. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Thank you for having me.
So excited. I'm going to lead right in. So, Rory, most kids your age are trying to decide between soccer practice and piano lessons. You, on the other hand, are lifting more than double your body weight and heading towards the Olympics. When did you know that this was what you wanted to do? And what is it about lifting that made you fall in love with it?
Well, I started so young. I don't really remember when I started. I just remember always have doing it. So what really made me love it was during the pandemic when gymnastics stopped, but weightlifting kept going. And when I went back to gymnastics, I realized the benefit of weightlifting because I still had my strength up. I could do all my skills and I was progressing faster than I was before.
That's amazing. The clarity you have at such a young age is very rare, and it shows in every single lift you do. Now, Mom, it's not every day that your child turns out to be an elite level athlete by age 12. Supporting that kind of dream takes commitment, but also emotional strength and balance. When did you first realize Rory was exceptional, not just strong for her age, but truly gifted? And how did that change your role as a parent?
I am not a weightlifter. My husband is not a weightlifter. We had no idea what we were doing and what we were taking her into. But after a few trips to the gym, we noticed that people were stopping to watch. And then after a few more trips, we noticed that people were getting at their cameras and recording and then posting about how amazing she was. And I still I had an idea that she was pretty good, but I didn't know anything about it. So it wasn't really until after she'd been at it for probably a year or so that I realized how absolutely special she was as a weightlifter. Her coach also says that she has a unique ability for a kid her age to actually listen. I've always known she was special, but I don't really think it's changed how I parent her necessarily. I've always sort of had the parenting philosophy that it's my job to support her and protect her and keep her safe and give her everything that I can so that she can achieve whatever she wants to achieve. The one thing I do take very seriously, though, as the mom of an elite athlete, is reminding her that she is still a kid.
Right.
I spend a lot of time making sure that even though she's got 1,000 things to do, reminding her that she still needs to have fun. She still needs to go out and play and make mistakes and do all the things that kids need to do as they sort of grow up. And that's my job as mom in the raising of Rory the weightlifter.
Yeah, it's a powerful reflection. And truly looking back, I think so many parents can relate to that moment of realizing, hey, your child is wired for something extraordinary, right? Now, Rory, what I love most is that you're not just lifting, you're leading. You're showing girls everywhere that strength comes in all forms. How do you feel being a role model for other girls your age? And what would you say to someone who thinks they're too small or too young to be strong?
When I go to competitions and I see how many more people there are there than there were 5 years ago, and then people come up to me and say that I influenced them to start weightlifting, I'm just glad that I could use weightlifting to bring us all together. And for anybody that thinks they're too small or too young, there's no such thing. Anything that you want to do, if you put your mind to it, you can achieve it.
That's gold. You're showing us that strength is way more than muscles. It's courage, it's focus, and showing up for yourself every single day. Now, Lindsay, balancing childhood with competitive sports, you mentioned a little bit earlier, is something you have to remind her, but it's no easy task. And I imagine there are moments where being mom and being, coach support can collide, right? How do you maintain normalcy in Rory's life, school friends, downtime, but also support her training at such a high level?
Well, it's really, really hard. And I'm not sure I've got it down yet. But I think one of the things that we've really been focusing on is the village and community that we have around us to help Rory be a kid and a weightlifter. Her coach does whatever he can to make sure she's having fun at the gym. Her teachers help us with homework and give her sort of special assignments when she's not there. She does a lot of homework in the car. But we also make the time for going to the movies and hanging out with friends and having Sunday night dinners with her family, because it's really important that she doesn't miss any of those things as well. Plus, I don't want her to miss having hobbies and having abilities, because at some point someday she's going to maybe finish weightlifting and finish gymnastics. So we focus on things like learning how to ski and learning how to skate, because we live in the north where there's a lot of those things. And so I don't want to miss out on all of those days and the time that she has to learn how to enjoy all of the things that life has to offer. So it requires a lot of planning. Rory has a little brother who's also in competitive sports. So what we've tried to do is to split things so that I'm the mom and I'm the one who's doing the supporting and the driving and the reminding her to be a kid. And her dad is the weightlifting coach. He's the one who takes her to the gym and who makes her shakes and all of those things. And that really works for us.
I love that. It sounds like you're raising not just an athlete, but a well-rounded, happy human being. And that's really everything, the most important part. Now, Rory, you've won titles across 3 countries. You've set records that even some adults can't touch. And your sense of style, well, pretty iconic, my dear. Where does your confidence come from, both in the gym and in your everyday life? And do you have any routines or rituals that help you stay focused and so bold?
Well, just like any other athlete in any other sport, I think my confidence comes from practice, put in and day out. If I know that I put in the work to be there, I know that I can succeed. And I think in daily life, it translates because you learn that all you have to do is push your limits and you can do anything that you want to do.
Confidence looks really good on you, Rory, and I love that you've made it part of your signature, both on and off the platform. Now, Mom, watching Rory lift must be a rush, but I imagine there are also nerves, fears, and moments that test your emotional endurance as a parent. What's been your proudest moment so far, and maybe even one of the hardest moments to watch as her mom?
I mean, it's really, really nerve-wracking, as any parent would say, watching your kid go up and do a competitive sport, the least of which is one like weightlifting, where it's just her standing on that platform by herself. It's really scary, and it doesn't get any easier. But I will say my proudest moment is probably also the hardest, which is in December 2023, Rory broke some world records. And she worked really, really hard to get to that point. And what she did was amazing and incredible. But because of the way that the sport is set up, those world records aren't recognized because she's not 13. And so we go to a lot of competitions. We go to a lot of things where Rory blows people out of the water. But she doesn't get any medals. She doesn't get any trophies. She doesn't get any of that recognition, except for sort of what we can get and what we can give her. In fact, as a family, we've actually started ending competitions by going to Disney parks in either Disney World in Florida or Disneyland, because that's what she can have instead of a medal for breaking some world records. So it's required a little bit of creativity, but I think it's working for us.
Thank you for that honest and beautiful answer. I mean, your pride does shine through every word, and it's clear that this is a shared journey of love and resilience for both you and Rory. Now, Rory, a recent stat from the American College of Sports Medicine says hydration can influence up to 25% of physical performance, especially in young athletes. How do you stay hydrated before and after training? Are there any fun or favorite drinks you always reach for?
Strength to body weight ratio is crucial for success. So as well as drinking a lot of water, I focus on having enough protein every day. So I have a balanced diet with lots of lean meats. And every day I have a beef protein shake with bone broth and beef collagen.
Wow.
Which smells disgusting.
We're going to definitely have to get you stocked up with some one tip on a coconut to keep those electrolytes exactly where they should be. Now, Lindsay, as she sets her sights on the 2028 Olympics, there's no doubt she's going to continue to inspire girls and parents around the world. What advice would you give to other parents whose kids are chasing big dreams, whether in sports or beyond?
It's really easy to say, oh, I would do this and I would do this. But really, the way that we're so successful is Rory calls the shots. I am here to remove obstacles, to support her with anything that she needs, and cheer her on from the sidelines. I am always the loudest person on the sidelines of any competition. And someday, probably pretty soon, she's going to get embarrassed by how loud I am in those competitions. But I think that that's really, as parents, the best that you can do for your kids. If they want to make it to the Olympics, they have to get there because they want to get there. and you just can do whatever that you can do to help them achieve that dream. So that's what I would tell every parent. Listen to your kid and do what they think is best for them, and just help them in any way you can.
Rory, how does it feel? You're going to be at the Olympics. When you close your eyes and see yourself up there, what are you feeling?
I try not to think about that because what if it doesn't happen and I'm just so excited for it and then I don't go to the Olympics? Then I'd just be disappointed. So I just try to think of the next day and the next practice I'm going to do and the next lifts I'm going to do instead of thinking that far ahead.
So this right here, though, this is why I am so proud of this kid. I feel like she has a maturity that not everybody has necessarily. And the fact that she thinks like that, I think is going to really serve her well.
It is. It's going to serve her very well. And what I will say is there's power in manifestation. And I'm going to say that, Rory, you're headed to the Olympics, whether you're going to think of it or not. I'm telling you, you'll be there. And that's the unique power that you have to show up consistently every single day, not for social media, not for your mom, not for anyone but yourself. And you continue to do that. And your attitude and your level of maturity, to your mom's point, is truly shines through. And that's what's going to get you there. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Well, this has been officially such an incredible interview. I learned so much from both of you. And more importantly, I know that my listeners and our audience can't wait to watch you.
Thank you very much. And thanks for giving us the opportunity to chat about this. It means a lot.
For everyone listening, you definitely want to follow Rory's incredible journey on Instagram at Rory van Ulft and keep watching as she lifts her way straight into the record books and into our hearts. Make sure that you are rooting for her for those 2028 Olympics. This has been the Hydration with Heart segment, brought to you by Once Upon a Coconut, because every champion hydrates with purpose. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeartRadio. We'll be right back after this.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by Once Upon a Coconut.
Discover the refreshing taste of 100% pure coconut water that actually tastes great. Naturally sweet with no artificial flavors or added sugar. It's packed with electrolytes to keep you hydrated throughout your day. And with 10% of profits going to charity, every sip makes a difference. Pure taste, pure goodness. Experience nature's Gatorade. Visit Once Upon a Coconut or naturesgatorade.com.
Welcome back, beautiful tri-state area. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeartRadio. I'm your host, Zen Sams. Welcome back to our Expert on the Microphone series in our Going Deep segment, brought to you by CO2 Lift. Today, we're joined by the incredible Dr. Jenn Owen. She's a board-certified OBGYN and Chief Medical Officer of Owen Health Group. After delivering babies for 12 and a half years in private practice, she now focuses solely on gynecology and female health and wellness, treating women in her Texas community for the past 7.5 years at Owen Health Group, where she works side by side with her brother, Dr. Jeff Owen. She's going to join me today to chat all about the importance of prioritizing vaginal health and the treatments and technologies to rejuvenate your skin down there. Welcome to the show, superstar.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
So excited to demystify all these stigmas surrounding female sexual wellness and health. You are a trailblazer, and I'm excited to chat with you today.
Thank you. Yes, I think it's so important to have women aware of everything we're going to talk about today. So I'm super excited.
All right. So before we dive in too deep, no pun intended, let's take a look back. Let's take a look back on your journey. So after delivering babies for over a decade, you switched your focus to gynecology and are a vocal advocate for discussing vaginal and sexual health very openly, a topic that has gone far too long with far too little discussion, right? So what initially inspired you to make the switch to focus solely on gynecology, and why do you find these discussions so important?
Yeah, so actually initially delivering babies was my passion. I loved it so much, but it takes so much of your time. It just truly sucks the life out of you. And I loved it to a fault. I always say I could never tell my patients no. I would want to be there for every delivery. And so my family suffered because of my job, basically. And so I wanted to be home more with my husband and my 2 girls. And so I truly made the decision to switch careers basically for my family. So whenever you switch from delivering babies to purely a gynecology practice, I really wanted to find something I was passionate about, something that was going to serve my community, find a need that was really out there. And my husband actually is the one who encouraged me to purchase 8 years ago this device called Votiva. It's a platform that is a radio frequency energy, and we can talk about that later in more depth. But purchased the platform and then really dove into focusing on women's health, women's vaginal health in particular, and the rest is history. So yes,
full circle story. So I know you were the first physician, like you just said, in 2000. I want to focus on that. That's important. It's pivotal. In 2017 in the West Texas area to offer Votiva, which, again, for those listening, is a non-surgical and non-hormonal option to treat a variety of female issues. And you've also been a certified provider of the O shot since 2018 and are now even offering treatments like Empower RF. So what are some of the most common concerns your patients bring to you regarding their vaginal health? And in a sea of technologies, how do you decide the right treatment plan for them? I mean, there's so many options.
Ironically, when I first purchased the device, I really thought women were going to come to me for more aesthetic reasons, like, let's tighten the external vulva, let's tighten the vagina, after babies, everything's loose. And so I really thought that's the population I was going to be serving. And then I quickly found out that over 95% of my patients are coming to me more for medical indications. So searching out treatment options for vaginal dryness, pain with intercourse, frequent vaginal infections, frequent UTIs, urinary incontinence, decreased vaginal sensation, suboptimal orgasms. So just all of these things that definitely are not aesthetic, but are truly affecting their lives, affecting their marriages. And so everything that I do on a daily basis is really helping women get their lives back, which makes me so, so happy.
I love the proactiveness. So let's touch base on one particular treatment, the CO2 Lift V. It's painless, it's effective. It's a treatment that has no downtime, addresses vaginal dryness and urinary issues and discomfort during intercourse, and even vaginal laxity and so much more. And even going beyond CO2 Lift V's monotherapy benefits, it can also be used in conjunction with other procedures to minimize both downtime and discomfort post-procedures. Now, Dr. Jenn, you are familiar with the product. In your experience, how does the CO2 Lift V compare to other non-surgical treatments? And how have you firsthand seen it improve vaginal health as a standalone treatment or even in conjunction with other procedures?
So I think you really hit the nail on the head that it is a procedure treatment that is so safe, so effective. There's no downtime. They can do it in the comfort of their own home. So they don't have to come into the office and have a procedure or treatment done. It is safe on all skin types. There are no contraindications. There's no side effects. So not only, like you said, is this fabulous as a standalone treatment, it is used in conjunction with other treatments that we offer in the office. In fact, it's become standard protocol with a couple of my procedures. So for instance, the O shot you mentioned. Every patient that gets the O shot goes home with this treatment. It expedites healing and improves their results as well. And then there's another procedure called Morpheus 8V, which is combining microneedling with radiofrequency energy in the vaginal area, which some people freak out by that, but we have a great protocol. Yeah. I know everyone's like, oh my gosh, what? But we have a wonderful protocol, and that we make the procedure as comfortable as possible because the results are just incredible. But we apply this product actually prior to the treatment, and they go home with another treatment to use that evening, again, to expedite healing. So it's become a beautiful part of my practice. Incredible product.
So I know another great application of CO2 Lift V is for perimenopausal and menopausal women, another area of women's health that has long been under-researched and under-discussed, but now finally is gaining recognition in the medical field. So Dr. Jenn, I know you're passionate about supporting women through the stage of life. How do you guide your patients through perimenopause and menopause, and what treatments do you find most effective?
Oh, wow. I mean, you said it just right off the bat that I think finally, attention is being paid to us women going through this time in our lives. Even a couple of years ago, if you're going through perimenopause, you're going to your physician, there's 65 complaints you could have. And physicians have truly been uneducated, and they don't understand that what these women are going through is actually due to their lack of hormones and hormonal changes and the chaos during the perimenopausal and postmenopausal years. And so again, looking for modalities that can help women through this time has just been incredible. So we always talk about, hormone replacement therapy. That's always super important. But unfortunately, some women cannot take hormones or choose not to take hormones. And so this product has been just a beautiful adjunct to be able to provide to my practice. And these women are just seeing beautiful changes, like you said, with vaginal dryness, pain with intercourse. I mean, it's truly saving marriages. If you can't have intercourse with your husband or your partner because it hurts so much, you're so dry, that is going to affect your marriage, your life, and you lose confidence. And so these products and these treatments really give women their confidence back and empower women to process this time of life the best they can.
I'm so glad you're here to break this all down because conversations like these are so important with many women, and they're just hesitant to talk about their intimate health and consequently not getting the help that they need. So, whether they're struggling with urinary incontinence or vaginal dryness or pain with intercourse, all of these will impact the woman's quality of life. So, thanks for everything that you're doing. Now, what advice do you have for women who may not prioritize their vaginal health? And what's one thing you wish more women knew about their intimate well-being?
I think we have to realize, and we all put so much effort into our outward appearance, aesthetics, and we all want to appear beautiful on the outside. But I think our vaginal health is so, so important. And like I said, it can just affect so many aspects of your life that you don't even realize. And again, saving marriages and maintaining a good relationship with your partner. And so I think the one thing I wish women would know is that if you start to address this issue early on, so let's be proactive, right? Let's stay on top of things before we have major issues. And that's why I love this product. Any age group can use this. And so if we really start to address our vaginal issues at a younger age and think of it as more preventative, I think it's going to really prevent problems as we transition through menopause, and it can make that transition seamless.
Yeah, definitely. This is about being ahead of the curve, not, getting to
Yes.
the situation that you have this big problem unfolding in front of you and you didn't take the proper steps, right? Now, lastly, before we wrap up, let's touch on education, whether it's educating your peers at conferences or educating your community and patients through private discussions or social media. Without a doubt, education plays a crucial role in advancing women's health. How do you approach educating your community of peers and patients on vaginal health and wellness?
It's funny. I found really that more word of mouth is powerful, right? So when I started this private practice 8 years ago, really no advertising initially. It was just starting to get the conversation opened, especially where we live in the Bible Belt, getting women to be comfortable with discussing, like you said, the vaginal dryness, pain with intercourse, incontinence. And so bringing the patients in, spending the time with them, listening to them, and providing them with explanations and answers and options. And then word of mouth spreads, right? And so women then start to talk to their friends, and then their friends come in. So it's kind of a personal referral type thing. And then, yes, like you said, educating my peers. I've spoken at conferences before about all of this. I think that's so important because I do believe that a lot of providers out there are not educated. And thank goodness, like I said, that we are really at this moment in our lives that more attention is being paid to perimenopause and menopause and all the issues we go through and all of the treatments now available. So it's just social media, like you said, getting out there, talking about it. I love doing posts, I do a little Myth Monday on Mondays and just educating women and providing as much information as I can.
Yeah, you're one of the trailblazers paving the way. You and founders like Laniker from the CO2 Lift and CO2 Lift V. Laniker is paving the way in an incredible category. Then we have journalist turned book author expert Tamsin Fadal on. She wrote an incredible book, How to Menopause, with Dr. Jessica Shepard, who's pioneering again the alongside all these incredible trailblazers. Very recently, we have Halle Berry that came up and really is speaking at the forefront of look at all my symptoms. Everyone from Oprah Winfrey to Brooke Shields. I mean,
Incredible.
the world is waking up, and this is what you have been talking about for a decade, and now it's finally mainstream. Menopause is mainstream. Look at this. Look what we.
Like Oprah said the other night, Oprah said, menopause is coming for you. It's coming for you. So you got to be ready.
We could continue talking for on and on, but I truly thank you so much for educating us today and lending your voice and being just the expert that you are.
Thank you for having me. This was a pleasure. Yes, we can chat again more. There's so many subjects too. Like you said, this could go on and on and on. So
yes, and
thank you.
More conversations are definitely needed and will be had. That was our Going Deep segment brought to you by CO2 Lift, and that was the incredible Dr. Jenn Owen, board-certified OBGYN and Chief Medical Officer at Owen Health Group. Definitely check them out at owenhealthgroup.com. And of course, definitely follow her on Instagram at Jenn the GYN. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeartRadio. We'll be right back after this.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by CO2 Lift. As we age, our skin loses moisture and elasticity, causing wrinkled skin. You can reverse this aging process with CO2 Lift. CO2 Lift utilizes the powerful benefits of carbon dioxide to lift, tighten, and regenerate your skin. This simple, painless at-home carboxytherapy treatment is scientifically proven to reverse the aging process. You will see reduction in wrinkles, increase luminosity, and improve pigmentation, sagging, skin tone, and radiance.
For more information or to order CO2 Lift, ask your skincare professional or go to co2lift.com.
Hi, everyone. Oh, my goodness. Digital age is here, and as much as it's fun and exciting, tech burnout is real. And now you have this big concept of digital detox retreat. Individuals are taking upon themselves to create this experience for themselves, or corporate entities are now incorporating into the wellness plan because it's real. You know, we spend most of the time getting alerts on our phones through apps or through group chats or whatever it is. It just seems like your phone is nonstop. On an average, you touch your phone over 2,617 times per day. That's what the science is saying, that an individual with an iPhone or an Android or some tech device, you are on it that much in a day. So obviously that's going to create some burnout. And the reason why that is happening is because there's overstimulation of our sympathetic nervous system. And we do know that this can cause chronic stress syndrome. So now all these retreats are trying to activate our parasympathetic system, which is the calm and the slowness in our body, which helps reverse this. So digital retreat is something that is here. It's a big trend in 2025. It's a necessity. And the way to go about it is, number one, you want to notify friends and family that you're going to be taking a retreat, and basically offline. And that kind of allows the immediate core circles to kind of back off and give you the time. And then the second thing is you want to prepare your mind. You know, the whole idea is you're not going to be on your phone, your tablets, your laptop, anything that will remotely attach you to a digital world. And while you're on this retreat, some of the things that are big are like yoga under the trees, meditating nearby a waterfall, a walk out in the nature, or hiking, or just being calm and still wherever you are. And so this retreat can be something elaborate like traveling to Bali or another foreign country that's unplugged and just kind of get you in your zen, or it can be an urban retreat exactly where you're staying and just pick a hotel or a wellness location that you can go in to have your retreat. If you don't have money for that kind of luxury, honestly, just your backyard can do the magic. The benefit of this is endless. There's physical benefit, obviously, what it does to recharge and unplug your system and kind of like bring it back to life. And then there's that mental and emotional benefits of doing this digital detox retreat. So your emotional well-being is hiked up and your mental clarity and alertness is improved. And of course, your social interactions, you come back more recharged, refueled to better connect to your fellow humans, whether it's at work or in your friendship circle. And lastly, just your personal anecdotal experience can influence your everyday interaction at job or just errands that you do and how you come in contact with people. So digital detox retreat is here to stay. It's a big thing in 2025. Do embark on this journey.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by the Polished Beauty Podcast with Dr. Daisy Aim. Hey, ambitious women, ready to shine on the inside and out? Tune in to the Polished Beauty Podcast, where we talk about business, beauty, brains, and body all in one spot. Meet Dr. Daisy Aim, triple board certified cosmetic surgeon, pro-aging advocate, fitness enthusiast, and your go-to for real talk on leveling up every part of your life. The Polished Beauty Podcast is your dose of ambition meets empowerment. For more information, head to polishedbeautypodcast.com.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by Your Home TV with Kathy Ireland and their channel partners. Head to yourhometv.com for free, family-friendly programming, streaming 24/7.
In business and in life, there's always an upside. Finding it is often the challenge. Having a mindset that looks for it and embraces problems as opportunities is the key to thriving. Finding the Upside with Maria de Lorenzis Reyes explores the transformative power of optimism, featuring visionary business owners, influential leaders, and inspiring everyday people. Tune in and see how they navigate changing conditions with optimism and innovation. Watch the special series One Tough Chick, highlighting resilient and powerful women, streaming on yourhometv.com.
Tune in to A Moment of Zen, Saturday nights from 9 to 10 p.m. on 710 WOR, the voice of New York.
Welcome back, beautiful tri-state area. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeartRadio. I'm your host, Zen Sams. Welcome back to the Better, Brighter You segment brought to you by Cyspera. Today, we're thrilled to have Dr. Corey Hartman. He's a board-certified dermatologist and founder of Skin Wellness Dermatology in Birmingham, Alabama. With over 15 years of experience in the world of skincare, Dr. Hartman is a trusted expert specializing in minimally invasive treatments, hair restoration, and laser dermatology. His approach is rooted in science, and he uses the latest techniques to provide patients with solutions that work for their unique needs. He's going to join me right now to chat about innovative skincare solutions and discuss aging, hyperpigmentation, and the rise of non-invasive treatments. Dr. Hartman, thank you so much for joining us today.
Hello, I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
Absolutely. This is a fascinating topic to me because it never gets old. Hence, skincare for me is with skin being the biggest organ in the body and the growing demand for minimally invasive treatments. How do you see the field truly evolving? I mean, what do you think is driving? There's this shift towards more accessible, non-invasive skincare options, especially as we move toward a more skin-conscious culture, if you will.
Yeah, I mean, we even see the tweens are getting in on the action, but it's become a lot more pedestrian. It's become a lot more openly discussed, and innovation is really taken over to allow you to do things that can prevent your skin from having to undergo very drastic procedures later in life. So a lot of those surgery cases can be prevented, kicked down the road for a long time if you take care of your skin from the beginning.
It's all about proactive, not reactive, right? And
Absolutely.
It's interesting to see the shift towards non-invasive treatments. And you touched on it, the tweens. I mean, I think Sephora stock has gone up, a gazillion % this year, just based off of TikTok. And so in recent studies, the American Society for Dermatological Surgery found that non-surgical procedures have increased by over 50% in the last decade. And this truly reflects the demand for immediate results with less downtime. And it's really clear that technology and accessibility are playing a huge role in transforming the industry. So you've worked extensively with injectables and laser dermatology. How do these treatments compare in terms of effectiveness and longevity, especially when it comes to achieving, number one, results that are both natural looking and, more importantly, long lasting?
Right. So a lot of the products that we have on the market, were developed to be sort of temporal. I mean, that's kind of how they preached it. And it was more still focused on correction instead of prevention, because with some of the fillers that, were originally introduced, it's all about replacing volume that has been lost. But you're not really addressing the skin quality. You're not addressing how collagen is produced. And in the long run, those are the things that contribute to truly healthy skin. And if your skin isn't healthy, no treatment is going to be, it's always going to be more optimized if your skin is in its optimal condition. So treating the skin has been really important. And fortunately, there have been a lot of advancements that allow us to take advantage of the natural processes in the skin to encourage those to remain healthy and functioning so that we can preserve as much as possible. And that's really been the biggest shift.
I totally agree, number one. And I think I back what you're saying. It's important to focus on those long-term solutions that don't just give us an instant fix, but also maintain that healthy glow over time. So when it comes to hyperpigmentation, which is a common concern, especially for those with darker skin tones, we've seen this increased awareness about the importance of effective treatments. So how do you typically approach hyperpigmentation in your practice, and how do you balance innovative treatments like Cyspera with traditional options?
The best way to treat it is really to have a good, solid skincare regimen. One that's going to encourage your skin to minimize inflammation, not suffer a lot of breakouts, not have a lot of changes and swings with respect to hydration levels, because all of that can drive the hyperpigmentation. So that's the first thing that you want to do. And then you really want to get into some of these topical products just to kind of work in the background to keep everything under control. We often take a multifactorial approach with hyperpigmentation because it can be so difficult to treat and so individualized per patient. So most patients, although a topical regimen is necessary, it's not always sufficient. And we add chemical peels. We have a variety of different lasers that can attack pigment where it can be in different parts of the skin. And we even can do a little microneedling, which has shown more success with hyperpigmentation and dyspigmentation than anybody even expected it to do.
Yeah, hyperpigmentation is definitely a tricky issue to tackle. The research doesn't lie. The American Academy of Dermatology has shown that skin of color tends to have a higher risk of dark spots, especially due to that post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation. So with that in mind, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's great to see products like Cyspera gaining attention. And what's remarkable about Cyspera is that it's proven to have significant effects without causing the side effects like hypopigmentation or achronosis, right? That some other treatments can really leave behind. So it's certainly making waves. As someone who specializes in hair restoration, I'm going to pivot a bit. It's clear that a lot of people struggle with hair thinning and hair loss. So what are some of the newer approaches to treating these issues, and how has that tech really changed the landscape of hair restoration?
Sure. So speaking of microneedling, another example where microneedling can be beneficial to really stimulate the blood vessels to start flowing well and get those fibroblasts moving to create as much active, healthy collagen as possible. Because remember, your hair is a skin appendage. So if the skin itself is not healthy and functioning at its highest level, the hair may suffer as a result. So that's kind of the first thing that you want to consider. And then start thinking about some of these procedures that we have that can really make an impact. The biggest procedure in our practice for, hair loss is PRFM. You may have also heard it called PRP, platelet-rich fibrin matrix or platelet-rich plasma, which is kind of like an older technology to a certain degree, but it takes the growth factors and the platelets that are inherent in our blood, spin it down to get rid of the part that is not beneficial for, regenerating tissue, and use that to inject into the scalp or to use transdermally through microneedling, the little channels that you create when you microneedle, to get that into the skin where it can then boost the quality of the skin. It helps the skin to not be as thin appearing. It gives it good turgor so that it has good, what I call bounce back. And it just keeps your skin with a nice shiny surface that reflects a life of good health.
Yeah, I love this is a great technology. I love that you highlighted it. It's making a huge impact. And treatments like PRP and those injections have become more accessible, which is great because, 10 years ago, this was not a thing. So I love that, when you look at the clinicals and the research, that it's shown those positive results in increasing that hair density and stimulating growth, which is fantastic for patients who are seeking those less invasive options, right?
Absolutely.
Now let's discuss the role of clinical trials in the development of skincare products. So Cyspera, for example, has been shown to be effective for hyperpigmentation, has completed trials with a significant portion of patients from skin of color backgrounds.
Yeah.
How important is it for clinical research to specifically include diverse populations, and why do you think this is critical in product development?
Well, we, as dermatologists, we are medical doctors first. Everybody goes to medical school before they become a dermatologist. So our foundation is really in empiric data, like good, solid research that findings that you come to by doing, fair and balanced trials. So research is always going to be ultimately important. And, there's been a history of not being as inclusive when it comes to doing some of that clinical research for many different reasons. But what it leads to is products that haven't truly been tested on every part of the population. And so when you're recommending products, it is important to understand how that product is going to interact with that patient as much as you possibly can. So that is one of the roles of clinical trials just in general. But, when we're recommending products, we want to see some scientific evidence that it's going to do what it says that it's going to do. Certain companies really do that work and invest the money and time into those trials, which are rigorous and designed to give the validity behind the product. And then that's a good starting point, but then it actually has to work. And that's the other part of what I've really loved about using Cispera. It was the first major disruptor to using hydroquinone. You mentioned some of the side effects that hydroquinone can give, and it has eliminated all those and really provides a more natural looking result.
I love that you mentioned that. And it's so important to make sure that clinical trials reflect the diversity of real world patients, right? Because as we know, hyperpigmentation can represent differently across various skin tones. And the fact that Cispera has over 80% of participants from diverse backgrounds has a strong commitment, and that shows that strong commitment to addressing the needs of all patients. So it really speaks to a more inclusive and personalized approach in skincare, which I think is truly proprietary.
Absolutely.
Now, finally, as a dermatologist, when you're recommending treatments for aging skin, how do you weigh the scientific evidence behind the product against the safety and efficacy of the treatments you use in your practice? Like for hyperpigmentation, do you feel that more brands should invest in those research, in that long-term research and the effects for specific skin types? What's your take on this?
Yeah, I mean, the more science, the better. Typically, clinical trials first establish that it works, and then they show long-term that it's going to be safe over time. So those studies, again, that just highlights the importance of doing good clinical work, because that's sort of like the baseline for most dermatologists where we're even going to consider it if there are safety studies behind it, because the ramifications of poor outcomes in patients with darker skin tend to be a lot higher stakes. There's more inflammation. If a product causes any sort of irritation, if it's not managed properly, it can actually make the hyperpigmentation that they were seeking to treat in the beginning even worse, which is never, ever the goal. So the safety has to be there. The product obviously has to work. And we want to see that both in the work that they put in on the clinical side, but then also in real world. It has to match up.
Yeah, I agree. Brands that commit to that rigorous research, especially on diverse skin tones, are making a big difference in achieving results that are both effective and safe, and it really paves the way. Now, 2025, we're at the midpoint. There's been a lot of conferences, a lot of congresses have come our way in the aesthetic and derm world. What have you seen that you're really excited about coming into the end of 2025? What should we be expect to seeing as of the summer?
Sure.
Trend-wise?
So we are moving into an age of regenerative medicine where these trends of preservation and prevention are really starting to shape the products and technologies that we're all getting excited about. So it's either biostimulatory injectables, which have been like given a second breath of life, it seems, after some people have decided that HA filler may not be for them. And we are seeing that we want the treatments to really mirror the patient. So a lot of autologous treatments, a lot of stem cell talk of honing your own cells to be able to generate, products and injectables that will benefit you in particular. Regenerative products as far as devices, the way that some of these devices are delivering energy to darker skin types. So we're kind of moving in that direction, and I'm really excited to see it.
Wow, you're just a book filled with knowledge. I'm sure you are a KOL at some of these congresses, and it's great to see that you do your research, and that, of course, peer-to-peer research and study groups are extremely important to you. Continuing ed, I think, is the most important thing for in your field specifically. It's very quickly evolving, but the clinicals and the research and the data, I think, speak for themselves. So thank you so much for coming on, for sharing your incredible expertise with us. It's really refreshing to know that there's so many of you at the forefront of this very complex world of dermatology, that are really keeping things in check and providing us with the most incredible information.
Thank you so much for having me and helping me to spread the word.
That was the Better, Brighter You segment brought to you by Cyspera. That was the incredible Dr. Hartman. Definitely check out Skin Wellness Dermatology at skinwellnessdermatology.com, or you can check them out on the gram at skin.wellness.derm, and you can follow Dr. Hartman at dr.corey-hartman. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeartRadio. We'll be right back after this.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by Cyspera. If skin discoloration is making it hard to find your Zen, Cyspera can help. Stubborn pigmentation, dark spots, and uneven skin tone concerns go beyond the surface, affecting both confidence and self-expression. In a sea of skincare choices, Cyspera stands apart. Backed by science and trusted by dermatologists worldwide, Cyspera is powered by the advanced cysteamine isobonic amide complex, delivering clinically proven results and effectively targeting mild to persistent discoloration while restoring the skin's natural glow. Unlike harsh treatments, Cyspera is formulated for all skin types, including sensitive areas, ensuring visible improvements without irritation. Whether pigmentation is a new concern or a long-standing struggle, Cyspera works in harmony with the skin to bring balance, clarity, and renewed confidence. Cyspera is science-driven skincare for confidence that shines. Find your skin zen and restore your glow with Cyspera today by heading to Cyspera.com. A Moment of Zen is sponsored by FinTech TV.
FinTech TV, the newest streaming channel focused exclusively on the business of blockchain, digital assets, and sustainability. Broadcasting from our studio on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange with daily reports from NASDAQ, global expansion, and 24/7 coverage. Become part of the launch. Head to fintech.tv/invest. Fintech.tv/invest.
Tune in to A Moment of Zen Saturday nights from 9 to 10 p.m. on 710 WOR, the voice of New York.
Vince Molinari from FinTech TV, and we're broadcasting today from the Venetian Resort at the Jones Trading Healthcare and Technology Innovation Conference. And I have the distinct pleasure and honor to have Eric Trump, the Executive Vice President of the Trump Organization, with us. Eric, what an honor. I am so delighted to have you here.
Great to be on, my friend. It's good to be here.
Let's go. I mean, I can ask you hours of conversation, questions. You gave this amazing keynote speech, and it was so insightful to see the journey and how, as you say, a real asset family ended at the arrival destination of embracing Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies, and really leading this country back to the forefront of this innovation.
Right. Well, that's right. Listen, I've been in hard assets my entire life, and had it not been for kind of the weaponization of the political system, had it not been for kind of the cancel culture that we saw through banks, I don't think I would have ever stumbled on Bitcoin, which has become really kind of a first love for me. And I certainly don't think I would have ever stumbled on DeFi, CeFi, stablecoin, something that's become such a big part of the Trump organization and our efforts right now. Again, I'm a hard asset guy, right? My entire life. If you couldn't touch it, if you couldn't see it, if you couldn't feel it, it didn't exist. And, I think the more mature I get, the more I kind of look into the future of finance. The more I realize how antiquated the big banks are, the more I realize how slow, costly. There's nothing that can't be done on blockchain that can't be done better than JP Morgan can do it. Banking shouldn't be 9 to 5. It shouldn't be a swift wire system where every single Friday you're waiting for a payment to come through. Home mortgages shouldn't take 90 or 120 days to get when you've banked with an institution for 20 years. They know every aspect of your life, your family. You just see a financial system that's broken, and you see a financial system that's antiquated, and you see a financial system that's been so punitive to so many, not just here in the U.S., but around the world. And I'm excited to help lead kind of the revolution of modernizing that and really bringing cryptocurrencies to the forefront.
Well, there's so much to it you said there and earlier on stage. And what resonated so much, I could see you felt it, the passion of talking about how we help everyday Americans bringing this forward. How do you bring efficiency? And on the back end of that, the evolution as part of this revolution that you're not even going to realize what's operating in the background when this becomes so efficiency. So maybe you can dive into that a little bit.
Yeah, well, I want everybody to realize that when they walk through these cities and they see these massive logos on the top of buildings, that they're funding that. They're funding that through their mortgages. They're funding that through their credit applications. The reason so many of the fees from banks are so exorbitant these days is they're funding the finest real estate anywhere in the world. So the top executives can have these unbelievable marble palaces on the top of these buildings, right? I mean, I know how much buildings cost to run. Why? Because we own a lot of commercial buildings, and you see them, and they're pushing hard paper back and forth, and you're sitting there saying, why? Why do you have those people in the mailroom? Why do you have those people? Those security officers. Why do you have floors and floors and floors of people who are pushing paper files back and forth to validate what they already know you're worth based on the fact that you've been a customer of theirs for years? It feels so antiquated. It feels so foreign. And the people that had the advantage in that world are guys like me, right? Families like ours that has a lot of zeros on kind of the back of their net worth. And, guess what? We're the people that can call the heads of the banks and say, listen, I want that loan to be 75 basis points less. The person who's going out and they're starting their first, pet grooming company, they don't have that advantage. Yet they are being drowned by those fees that are otherwise paying for those massive buildings. And so really, when you look at DeFi, when you look at CeFi, when you look at kind of what cryptocurrency can do for the modern financial era, it can make it faster, i.e. you can process transactions 24 hours a day, 7 days a week versus, at the behest of your bank, which is, again, 9 to 5, Monday through Friday with a long lunch break in between. It can make it cheaper. It can make it more transparent. It avoids the kind of weaponization that we've seen in this country. But forget about this country, what people see all around the world. Imagine living in some nation in Africa. Imagine living in some nation in South America, where every year your currency is being devalued by 50%. What the hell do you do? Where do you go? Crypto gives you a great kind of platform. It actually levels the playing field for a lot of humanity. And I think that's a beautiful thing.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by Your Home TV with Kathy Ireland and their channel partners. Head to yourhometv.com for free, family-friendly programming, streaming 24/7.
The Kelly Williams Show is brought to you by Serendipity Yacht Cruises and Events. Tune in and turn on your happy. Kelly Williams is full of energy and incredible guests. Watch her anytime, free programming on Your Home TV network, and do follow her on social media for a chance to win monthly prizes. Check out The Kelly Williams Show on yourhometv.com.
Tune in to A Moment of Zen, Saturday nights from 9 to 10 p.m. on 710 WOR, the voice of New York.
Well, that's a wrap, my dear friends. We are at the end of our date. Remember to join me right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, every Saturday night from 9 to 10 p.m., or you could head to 710wor.iheart.com/A Moment of Zen. Also remember that we're live on Traverse TV Sundays at 1 p.m. Eastern, YouTube Sundays at 2 p.m. Eastern, and all episodes of A Moment of Zen are available on Your Home TV and Kathy Ireland worldwide streaming platform. You could head directly to our channel. It's free programming to you at mox.yourhometv.com. Thank you for listening to us. It's been an absolute pleasure being your host. Thanks again to all of our sponsors that continue to make this show possible. And remember that happiness is the only thing that multiplies when you share it. We'll be back next week.